The Pope admits that the nuns and the priests are probably watching porn. Climate protesters glued themselves to a museum but then had to leave to go pee. And a marijuana company is being sued for not getting their customers high enough. These are the weird stories for Thursday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast. That's right, it's daily. Include it in your daily news lineup, guys. Why wouldn't you? Even the nuns and the priests are watching porn, says the Pope. That's right. Pope Francis has warned priests and nuns about the dangers of watching pornography online. He says it weakens the priestly heart. The Pope is 86 years old. He's probably never watched porn. You think he's watched porn one time just to see what's going on there? I'm sure there's some categories that the clergy could enjoy on Pornhub. The Pope was responding to a question about digital and social media and how it will be best used at the Vatican. And he said pornography. Well, it's so funny. He went from there to pornography. Yes, Mr. Pope, how will you guys be using, digital media and social media at the Vatican? Well, I tell you, we won't be using it for porn. That's for damn sure. He just busts out that statement. That leads me to believe that the Pope is watching some porn. He said that it was, quote, a vice that so many people have. Even priests and nuns are watching porn. He's aware of that. The devil enters from there, the Pope told the priests. The devil enters from there. The devil enters from the porn, apparently. Wow. That means I got a lot of devils in me. So many devils. A devil jumps in me every day, I think. So many devils. I'm going to need an exorcist immediately. Get the porn devils out of me. They're in me. I need to get them out. As to how to navigate social media in the digital world, the Pope said they should be used, but not to waste too much time on it. I love how we're asking the Pope advice on how we should use social media. The Pope probably is still using an AOL account, is my guess. That's how out of it he is in the digital media world. Here's another quote from the Pope. The pure heart, the one that Jesus receives every day, cannot receive this pornographic information. What does that mean? The pure heart cannot receive this pornographic information? I have a pretty pure heart, man, and I easily receive pornographic information. I don't call it pornographic information. I call it lovely pornographic images. The Pope advised the group to, quote, delete the pornography from your phone so you will not have any temptation in your hand. Well, I think it also needs to be said to maybe curb the use of altar boys, because that's a little temptation for some of them as well. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Hey, I'm a Catholic. I can make fun of Christianity, Catholicism all damn day if I please. They need to get their act together in this department, I think. When you keep people from experiencing any sexuality at all, it becomes a very repressed impulse. And it is an impulse that need not be denied. We all have the impulse for sexuality. It's completely normal human behavior. It's part of life. Well, when you repress that, it tends to come out in very squirrely ways sometimes, as we see has happened in many Catholic churches and whatnot. The Catholic Church requires, of course, that all clerics remain celibate, which is to abstain from sexual relations and even marriage. Watching porn, of course, would breach these requirements. Priestly celibacy was introduced about 1,000 years ago by the Catholic Church. Before then, clergy were often married. And I know they do that in the Jewish religion as well. They allow marriage, and I think that's completely normal. I think they should make this change in the Catholic Church, to be honest with you. Let's just make it more normal, man. Sex is just so not something taboo. It's just not. And in fact, you might be surprised to hear this, but priestly celibacy is not explicitly required by the Bible. It doesn't even say such things. It's a discipline required by the Catholic Church. It's something that I guess they're all about. For many, remaining celibate is a key part of being a Catholic priest, which is supposed to devote himself to the church and not be distracted by what some consider to be worldly concerns like a wife or a family. Well, Captain Pope, good luck enforcing this rule. I mean, I assume all the clergy have smartphones at this point, so unless you're going to put one of those security apps on there, there's going to be some that resort to watching it. And you should allow at least the nuns to watch porn. Those girls look like they got a rough, boring life, you know? Allow them this pleasure at least. Climate protesters glue themselves to a Porsche, but then they needed to go potty. So I guess that didn't last. Climate change activists protesting industries and governments had a very busy summer over in Europe. A relentless activist outfit called Just Stop Oil in the UK has created some disruptions everywhere, from major highways to the British Formula One Grand Prix. More recently, you may have seen this story. They threw tomato soup on a Van Gogh painting at the National Gallery in London. That made me very sad because I really enjoy Van Gogh's work. I was like, do you got to ruin a Van Gogh? Can you ruin a lesser artist, please? And then during the Tour de France cycling race, they were forced to pause during several stages because the climate activists glued themselves to the road. There's another group called the Scientist Rebellion. They took the sticky route when 9 members recently glued their hands to the floor of the Porsche Pavilion at the Volkswagen's Altenstadt Museum in Wolfsburg. I think it's hilarious that they use glue. I'm going to glue myself to this. Yeah, well, I can still just drag you away. The glue doesn't keep a 200-pound person to the floor. I don't know what kind of glue this is. Obviously, it wasn't strong enough to keep them from leaving to use the restroom at the Porsche Pavilion. These protesters have several requests. They listed them on their Twitter thread. Among them is they want support for capping the maximum speed on German highways to 100 kilometers per hour, which is 62 mph. They want Volkswagen to lower its carbon emissions. They want them to cancel the debt on interest payments. And they want to pressure the government to comply with all of their climate change demands. Such protests are happening so often that there's now a standard back and forth. A group disrupts traffic or makes a scene somewhere, like in a museum. Authorities are called in immediately. The media follow, capturing the ruckus as protesters are unglued or unchained or coaxed down from trees and highway bridges. The Altenstadt is a Volkswagen gem among the Wolfsburg factory complex, with the immense glass storage tower shuffling completed vehicles awaiting delivery and pavilions for Audi, Lamborghini, and Porsche. This should have made it the perfect place for this sort of ruckus and protest, which is usually a magnet for police intervention and media. This is how they get their message out there. I find it to be odd, the tactics they use, but let's keep reading. The staff at the museum ignored all of this. Instead, they called the Wolfsburg police immediately. The staff recognized the right to protest, then closed the pavilion for the evening and left, turning off the lights as they walked out. They just turned off the lights and left them there? Is that what happened? They said before they left, the protesters, quote, pleaded for medical treatment because their hands were sore, and they moaned that they couldn't use the toilet. Well, that's what you signed up for, bro. You're going to glue yourself to the bumper of a Porsche or the wall or the floor. You might need medical treatment. And it's not good for the bladder to hold it in this long, you know. It can lead to erectile dysfunction. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. They told the media that they refused their request to provide us with a bowl to urinate. Oh, as if the staff is required to produce a bowl for you to urinate and defecate in while you're glued. You're totally disrupting their place. I mean, at this point, isn't it trespassing if they order you to leave and bring the police in, and now you're going to complain that they didn't provide you with a poop bucket? Get out of here, bro. The protesters also complained that the staff at the museum didn't allow them to order food, said that they must provide a meal by Volkswagen. Provide a meal while you're protesting on their property? How? How is that even a thing? They were also pissed off that they turned the lights off on them. Bro, when you agreed to be an activist, what did you think you were signing up for here? Did you think it's an easy road being an activist? You think you're going to throw cans of soup on precious valuables like an original Van Gogh painting and nothing's going to happen to you? So it turns out that most of these activists stayed overnight in the museum. One left early for medical treatment. Another one had diarrhea, so had to bounce. And a third left because they wanted to watch the end of a Netflix series. According to the German media, the police took actions that morning. Criminal proceedings were initiated for such crimes as trespassing, coercion, and property damage. And I really don't expect these cockamamie protests to end anytime soon. We're going to see more and more of this. Climate change is obviously being ramped up in the world of digital media, and people are very passionate about their stance on it. So I'd imagine the protesters are going to begin preparing for these sorts of incidents, maybe showing up with backpacks full of food and toiletries, maybe like a box full of kitty litter if you plan on staying more than a day. You like podcasts? You're listening to my podcast. Maybe you thought to yourself, I'd like to make a podcast. Too difficult. No, not with Anchor. Anchor has free creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. Anchor distributes your podcast to Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. They have advertising integration, so you can even make a little money off your podcast. Everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your creation. Good luck with your life, man. A marijuana company is being sued for not making customers high enough. I love it that this is where we're at with cannabis right now. I mean, for decades we were bitching about making it legal. I need it. We want access to it. And now we've taken it a step further. Not only do we demand and want and feel as though we're guaranteed access to it, but we want to make sure that you guarantee our high as well. You're not getting me high enough, bro. I'm getting a lawyer. So in this story, we have a California cannabis company. The company is being sued by two local consumers for allegedly lying about the potency of their marijuana products. We have two guys in the story. One's named Jasper. The other one's named Blake. They filed a lawsuit in state court last week accusing Dreamfield's company of some false advertising, intentional misrepresentation of their products, and something called unjust enrichment, which I believe translates into not making them high enough. I was unjustly enriched. I wasn't enriched enough, also known as high enough. You guarantee my enrichment. I want to be high as shit. At the issue in this case is an amount of THC. Are you guys familiar with the THC? Also known as tetrahydrocannabinol. That's a fun word. Say it 3 times fast with me, guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Tetrahydrocannabinol. 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 Did you do it? Did you accomplish this feat? Now they're saying there's not enough of this tetrahydrocannabinol in the pre-roll products from Dreamfields, and it's leading to unjust enrichment. People aren't getting enriched off this low amount of THC. THC is the chemical in the cannabis that gives users a high. There's also CBD in there, which does some other things. I'm just trying to keep you guys up to date. Hopefully the Pope will address some of these issues in his next speech. We're going to find out that a lot of nuns and priests are smoking the tetrahydrocannabinol. Dreamfields markets its products as having higher than average levels of THC in their pre-rolls, but they did an independent laboratory study. They found that their pre-rolls do not have a higher concentration of the chemicals, and they got some lawyers. Now, one of the particular products in question claimed to have a THC content of 46%, which is a lot. That's a lot. I have some pre-rolls here that claim to have 46%, but they're what's called infused pre-rolls, which means some other, like they might add keef to it or some other cannabis enhancer to up the THC content. And of course, because people are willing to pay more for, let's say, infused pre-rolls that advertise a higher THC content, they expect, to get higher off these products. They're going to pay more. But, I mean, we're dealing with the wild, wild west here in the cannabis industry. There, all kinds of claims are being made, and it's hard to keep these companies, in line at this moment. We need to build an infrastructure around this, and we will as we go. Not all states have legalized the product, not all countries either. So we're at the beginning stages of this. So maybe this lawsuit will set a precedent, and you'll probably see most of it play out initially in the state of California. California, as you know, has a multi-billion-dollar cannabis industry. They topped the nation in marijuana sales last year at $5.7 billion, according to the annual Marijuana Business Fact Book. I read this morning in this same industry that Germany just made it legal to possess up to 30 grams of cannabis flower on your person, which is pretty cool. So we're seeing Europe move into this area as well. I think this is a great thing. This is positive. But there's always going to be misleading advertising and labeling. You got to watch out for that. And may I suggest, don't buy those pre-rolls, guys. They're much more expensive. It's ridiculous. Just buy some flour and roll your own, bro. Roll your own. If you don't know how, call me. I'll come over. I'll show you. Yay! La da dee, la da da, la da dee, la da da. How are you? Did you enjoy this episode? I hope you did. Thanks for sticking it out all the way to the outro. Announcement. Today's Thursday, so tomorrow is Friday. That means Florida Friday, guys. If you would love to send me some weird news out of the state of Florida, my email's funnyjones@gmail.com. Or you can slide into my DMs as well. I'm at funnyjones on Instagram. So feel free to send on those Florida stories. If this is your first time listening on Friday, I only do weird news from Florida. Yeah, it's not my best quality, but, it's something that people seem to enjoy, so we're going to keep doing it. If you guys would like to call the show, I implore you, don't hesitate. Please do so. The number is 646-450-2012. If you want to support the show because you love what I'm doing and you want to keep me going and keep me alive in the closet here. I have to stay alive, I'm pooping in a kitty litter box like a protester. Just kidding. I have electricity. If you want to support the show, just go to weirdafnews.com and there's a couple ways. You can click on buy Jonesy a coffee, or you can click on the Patreon banner and join the Patreon, which is pretty cool. That's like buying Jonesy a cup of coffee a month. Why wouldn't you buy me a cup of coffee a month? Why not keep me highly caffeinated? Keep this weird news production running at top speed, top notch, full speed, doing it. All right, well, I can tell you're getting annoyed by me, so I'll let you go. We'll see you tomorrow for Florida Friday. Don't miss it. Don't miss it.